Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining today. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. I'm Lindsay Vastola, and I will be sharing a bit about the 8-week body project empowered by curves. We have a wonderful group of you here today live. So as we go through, feel free to type in the chat any questions that you have. But the goal here is to give you just a little bit of information, what to expect from the 8-week body project. Is the 8-week body project a good fit for you? And perhaps answer any questions and hopefully get you excited about taking on this 8-week life-changing journey together. So I am going to introduce myself in a bit here, but it's really not about me. So I am going to first share a story with you about a client of mine several years ago. Her name is Deb. And Deb, I had worked with her. I used to own a women's fitness and wellness gym. And she was a longtime client. And she was one of those clients that any program that I offered, anything that I did, she was always one of the first to sign up. And she really struggled for a long time with her weight and keeping consistent with an exercise routine, consistently making good food choices. She felt like she was yo-yo dieting, always looking for the next thing that would hopefully get her to the results that she wanted. And she came up to me after doing this 8-week body project. And she said, Lindsay, I realized something over the last few weeks. She said, I realized that I was a joiner. For at least the last 30 years, I was a joiner. And I said, Deb, what do you mean you're a joiner? And she said, I was always looking to join the next thing. I was always looking to join the new fitness club or the new fitness, workout videos, buy the newest equipment, whatever it was from a fitness standpoint, exercise, hoping that that was the thing that was going to be the answer. I always joined the new food fad, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, insert diet here. And she said, I was always looking and hoping that that one thing would be the answer. And she said, what I realized by always looking to join something else, I never really stopped or really never gave anything long enough of a chance to see long-term results. I never gave it long enough, or I didn't find the right program, even though I learned so many things from those different, plans and programs. I learned a lot, but I always felt like there was a missing link. There was a missing piece. And she said, until I did the 8-week body project, did I realize it was that missing piece that I was missing, And that's why I continued to look without success that lasts long term. And I share this story with you because I bet a lot of you can identify with Deb. Maybe you're here because you've tried countless plans and programs, fitness, exercise, running, walking, different diet plans. Maybe you've tried different food delivery service. You've counted calories, you've counted points. You've tried maybe coaches or dietitians. Maybe you generally know what you need to do, but you struggle with sticking with it long term. Maybe you generally have an idea of what to eat that's healthful, or how much you should be sleeping, or that you should be exercising and strength training, but you still struggle with making it an actual lifestyle that's easy without overwhelm. You probably know that you need to and want to prioritize your health, but it feels overwhelming and exhausting. You're just tired of figuring it out on your own. I think a lot of women in particular, we fall into this trap where we figure out everything for everybody else. We figure out things for our kids and our family and our parents and at work. And so when it comes to taking care or figuring out our health, we don't know where to start. We feel stuck. And so then we end up just spinning our wheels. Can anybody identify, and if you guys, maybe you're just listening, there's a bunch of you on, but if you're on live, do any of these identify, do you identify with any of these? You can put it in the chat. Maybe if there's one in particular that you struggle with or that maybe stands out right now. If you just feel stuck, you can't stick with things long term. But ultimately, I'm guessing that most of you know that something has to change. You've probably come to a place where you've tried and you feel like you're on this cycle of failure, but you know something has to change. And what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting different results. So we keep going back to that diet plan that worked for us 5 years ago or even 1 year ago, but we never stick with it again. Most of you are saying, yeah, thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Is that most of them, right? These are the thoughts that go through our mind and what really holds us back. So I'm going to share with you just quickly about myself. So as I mentioned, my name is Lindsay Vastola. I created the 8-Week Body Project. I came from a corporate background and left very high stress job and left very unexpectedly, just because I knew I was really meant to do something different. And so I started about 17 years ago. I started my women's fitness and lifestyle company called Body Project. I had a women's health and wellness gym, where it was very much in alignment with the Curves methodology. It was a place for women, a community for women. We focused on women's health and fitness. And so in that span, I've also had the opportunity to do a lot of fitness coaching and speaking in the industry of fitness. So it really gives me an opportunity to see what's going on in the industry from a fitness standpoint, from a nutrition standpoint, from a wellness standpoint, and bring the best of those things together in this program. But here's what I realized. For so many years, I gave my clients, I gave them exercise programs. I gave them challenges like 6-week transformations. I gave them meal plans and recipes. I did coaching with them of all sorts. We offered seminars and workshops, and we gave them accountability in all forms, calendars and checklists. And what I realized is I thought I was giving women everything that they needed to succeed, because all of these things would work short term and they were fun and they were informative. But over the years, I discovered that there are 2 groups of women, same programs, same meal plans, same coaching, same everything. Yet over and over, 2 groups of women stood out to me. There were women who would succeed. And by succeed, I do not mean they lost 20 pounds for a short period of time and then, fell off and had to do it again. I mean success by lasting, meaningful, real change, where they integrate healthy habits that just become a part of who they are, what they do, and part of their life with ease and without overwhelm. And then the other group of women were the ones who consistently struggled. So they may succeed for a short period of time, but then they would fall off track, get back on some short-term program, fall off again, and they just repeated that cycle, even though they meant well and they were really motivated. And there are reasons why this happens. And so it really made me question, as a coach, what determines whether a woman is going to succeed or struggle? Because I saw both. I gave them the same exact things. What's the difference? And they, just as sort of a side note, they were all busy women who took care of families. Many of them worked full time or had just come out of retirement. They were success driven. So all in all, it wasn't like the women who succeeded had cushy lives with, people cooking for them. They all had very, challenging lives in their own right. So then I asked myself, I said, as a coach, what do I really need to teach women so that they can end their struggle and finally help them so that they can succeed long term? What do I need to do or provide them as a coach? Because those other things, while they provide, a good information and they might work short term, what do I really need to teach women? And at the end of the day, what we realize, and we know this intuitively, that if it was just as simple as eat less and exercise more, most of us wouldn't be here. If it was just as simple, if reaching our optimal health would be, just eat less and just exercise a little bit more and all your problems would be solved. If it was just that simple, none of us would be here today. Would you agree? I know thanks so much for the feedback, guys. If it was just that simple, the reality is that achieving your optimal health requires more than just another diet and exercise program. And again, I think intuitively, many of you know that, but what's that answer? What is the more? What's that missing link that's more than just diet and exercise? And here's an analogy I'm going to share with you. So I want you to imagine a house. Now, this house is really rickety and not well put, but it's going to demonstrate my point. When you build a home, when you build a house, okay, we think about, many of us think about the aesthetics of the house, the doors, the windows, the decorations, the furniture, the landscaping. And I want you to think of all of those aesthetic things, the things we see as part of the house. That's really what for so long, many of us have been looking at. The quick fix diet programs, even exercise programs, because we think that they're just the answer. Give me the right program and I'll be set. We look at prescriptive diets. When I say prescriptive, I'm referring to diets that say you need to eat X number of calories, X number of grams or points or what have you. Weight loss programs, weight loss products. Now, do not get me wrong. Many of the programs, plans, and products out there have validity. They do have value, but they are just simply parts of a puzzle. The reality is, if this home that we want to build, our bodies, our health, if it doesn't have a strong foundation of mindset and habits, at some point, all the weaknesses in the house, the cracks are going to show. And the house, no matter how pretty, all of the furniture and the windows and the doors, no matter how much money you've spent on those, the house will come crumbling down because you don't have a strong foundation. And this is what we've seen all too often. And I'm sure many of you can agree. You've done all of the programs, you've spent money and time and energy doing those things, but you really haven't done the work on the mindset and habits in order to build that foundation so that when you do another program like a prescriptive diet or another exercise program, it actually sticks long term. Okay. And this is not your fault. This is unfortunately really, if you look at the diet and fitness industries, the Curves does such a great job of educating these things, which is one of the reasons I love working with Curves, is because we're talking about these foundational principles beyond just the plans and the programs. I hope this makes sense. I hope it gives you a visual of maybe why it's been so frustrating for you over the years. It's really about building those mindset and habits. So we ask ourselves, we say, okay, well, we know how to build a strong body, right? We know to make stronger muscles. We lift dumbbells and we exercise and we do the circuit at Curves. How do we actually change our mindset? How do we measure any change? How do you know that it's even working? And how do we change those habits so that they're lasting long term? And it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming and we're constantly starting again. And what I want to share with you is a quick quiz. And if you have a piece of paper handy, you can write down. I'm going to go through a few slides here. A few different questions, and there will be, you can do it A and B or 1 and 2. You'll see as we get through, or just kind of take a mental note. But this is an assessment. We actually do this assessment at a deeper level in the 8-week body project, where you assess the strength of your mindset. Because as you'll notice here, we call it the dieter mindset and the momentum mindset. And most of us struggle with the dieter mindset, and that's what's keeping us. So this provides us, it's almost like doing a fitness test. And at the beginning of when you're starting your fitness routine, you do an assessment to see where you're starting. And then you progressively, every once in a while, after you do the work, 3 months, you check your assessment again, and hopefully you've seen improvement. We need to do this for our mindset as well. So I'm going to walk you through this. So when it comes to making your health and well-being a priority, do you generally need structure of a plan or program to keep you accountable? Otherwise, is it hard for you to put your health and well-being ahead of your other obligations, work and family? Or do you generally feel accountable to yourself and regularly make your health and well-being a priority. Which one of those is generally true? Okay, and again, you can call this one and this one too. All right, I'm just gonna click here. Okay, when you want to change your habits, because I'm guessing many of you have been through this. You're like, I know I need to change my habit around exercise, or I need to change my sleeping routine habits or my eating habits. Do you usually take an all or nothing approach? Do you start off strong, but at some point you sabotage your efforts, you lack willpower, or old habits start creeping back in? Or do you focus on one or two small changes at a time so that you can just determine what's going to work, what won't, what will be sustainable for you long term, and what isn't? Which one do you typically sort of fall back on? And we're not checking your answers. Nobody has to, this is only for you. When you look at food, do your thoughts usually include something like, will this food help me lose weight or gain weight? Or do you look at a plate of food and say, will this food give me the physical and mental energy that I need for the next 3 to 4 hours? Which one is typically, and again, you have to create some awareness around when you're typically opening the refrigerator or sitting down at a meal. How would you describe your current mindset toward food? Do you feel like you're very restricted or you're confined about what you can and cannot eat? Do you feel guilty if you eat certain foods or feel like you have to justify eating certain foods? Or have you found a balance between the foods that fuel your body while still being able to eat and enjoy? I call them splurge foods without guilt. And the key here is without guilt or justification. Are we with me so far? I can't see anybody, so I'm assuming we are. If not, you can chime in the chat. How would you describe your current mindset toward exercise? Does exercise feel like it's one more thing to add to your to-do list, something you have to do? Or is exercise just a non-negotiable? It's part of who you are and what you do so that you can experience your best physical, mental, and emotional health. When it comes to stress and feeling balanced in your life, how would you respond? Has stress become a constant in your life that you often struggle to balance life, work, and all of your other obligations? Like, are you overwhelmed? Do you tend to let stress into your life or let it affect your life and your choices and decisions? Or do you generally feel a sense of balance and control even in times of stress and uncertainty? Okay, after experiencing a setback, you fall off track, you get injured, you get sick. COVID, somebody mentioned, right? COVID was a big setback for many of us. Does it usually take you a while to find the self-motivation to get back on track? And then you push off making big changes because it feels overwhelming, right? Sometimes it feels overwhelming to have to get back into a fitness routine if you haven't been working out for a year, or getting into a healthy eating routine if you've been not eating well for a long time. Or do you generally bounce back pretty quickly because you have a doable reset plan in place that helps you get motivated and get back on course? If I were to take a little tape recorder and record what was going on in your mind and sort of record your thoughts, what would I hear? Would your thoughts mostly be focused on worry and uncertainty, self-doubt, and overwhelm? Or would there be thoughts mostly of solutions and optimism, self-worth, and resilience, excuse me. Last two here. How would you describe your self-confidence? Do you often lack self-confidence in at least one or two areas of your life, which generally might hinder you from reaching your goals or pushing yourself to your full potential? Do you generally feel confident in most areas of your life? You're aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, and you're consistently striving to push yourself to reach your full potential. One or two. All right, and the last one. Your perspective of motivation and success. Are you motivated when you see results? So when you jump on the scale and you see that you've lost X number of pounds, for example, if you don't see a change, is it difficult for you to maintain motivation? Do you use things like your weight or your income or other benchmarks as measures of your success? Or are you generally motivated when you feel productive, when you feel purposeful, when you feel like you have a plan that you're following, and you use your level of happiness, confidence, and overall sense of well-being as measures of success, not necessarily the number on the scale or your income and so on? Okay, so hopefully everybody either jotted those down or sort of mentally made some notes here. And you don't have to answer this out loud, but I want you to think about, like, looking at your answers. If they were mostly the number ones, the ones on the left there when you're looking at the screen, if most of your answers fell in that category, you very likely are hindered by the dieter mindset. Okay, this is just a behavior, we call them thinking habits, without even being aware that this is the mindset that dictates whether you are going to succeed or struggle. Because the language around food and exercise and stress and self-confidence, everything is hindering you instead of helping you. If most of your answers were on the right side, that is what we call the momentum mindset. That is the mindset of those women who succeed long-term. It does not mean they don't have challenges. It does not mean they don't have struggles. It just means that they consistently have momentum moving forward. When they fall off course, they can more quickly get right back on and not feel like they have to start all over again. They're more optimistic, and as a result of the choices and the different ways they talk to themselves, their mindset, their thinking habits around food and exercise, because it doesn't feel like they're restrictive, they actually see better lasting physical results. So I'm going to say that again. When we have the momentum mindset and we have habits in place that we've worked to incorporate into our life, not somebody else's, but we figured out how to work it out into our life, physical results not only follow, but they're lasting and they don't feel like they're as hard to maintain. Because sometimes when we lose the weight, the hardest part is maintaining it, because we had to work so hard cutting and being restrictive and over exercising to get there. And then maintaining it is so exhausting. It's not sustainable. So that's the real key difference. And so when I said earlier, what do I really need to teach women in order for them to see lasting success? Women really need to learn how to defeat that dieter mindset, because it creeps in there. And this isn't only for food, as you saw in those questions. It's how we deal with stress. It's how we deal with setbacks. It's how we deal with the unexpected, how we look at food, right? And this doesn't mean that we don't get to enjoy our best foods, but we get to enjoy them in a different way. Secondly, how to end their struggle with self-motivation and self-sabotage. This is what I hear women continually say is, if I could only be more self-motivated, then I would see success. Then I would get back, I would be able to stay at the gym. Coupled with the self-sabotage behaviors of doing well, and then Friday was a long week, and then we sort of blow the week on food and whatever through the weekend, and we feel like we're starting again. And third is, how do we balance these healthy habits with the demands of everyday real life? And I think a lot of programs unfortunately miss this. They don't, it's almost like they've created these programs that are not made for real women with real lives and, real challenges and jobs and careers and businesses and families and sandwich generations where we're taking care of our parents and our kids. What are those demands of real life, and how do we make changes so that they can work in balance? So the missing links, as we've stated, the two missing links, it's not about food, it's not about exercise solely, it's about mindset and habit change. And that's where the 8-week body project emPowered by Curves comes in. This program is focused on getting you to a place where you become the woman who is consistent. You become the woman who can easily make the healthy choices, yet still enjoy her favorite foods. the one who actually enjoys fitness and exercise because she's discovered what works for her and what is sustainable for her. She can have greater stress resilience. She can bounce back more quickly. So the 8-week body project is a perfect complement to the Curves programming, the fitness programming, even the nutrition programming, which we'll talk about in a moment. This really is the missing link. It brings together the food, the fitness, the stress management. It brings it together with mindset and habit change. So I'm going to now get into kind of the details of what to expect of the actual program. But I hope to this point, this gives you a framework for maybe if you've been sort of down on yourself or frustrated that you feel like how many times you've tried, if you're like Deb, the joiner, who feels like, for 30 years, she's been trying so many things, really with no sustainable success. This program is an ideal journey for you to look at. So there's two parts of this program. The first is what we call the Everyday 8 Healthy Habits. These are sort of the action plans. These are the things that you will incorporate on a regular basis. And then the second piece is truly the missing link. It's the mindset piece, providing mindset coaching, tools and actual exercises to get your mindset in a healthier place so that you have that momentum mindset, defeat the dieter mindset, and you have that stronger foundation in your house. So this is the action plan, how it's delivered. We have a self-paced, self-guided online education. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So this is really, it's an education program, education-based program. Oh, Angela, it is available in Hawaii. It's digital, and we're going to get to details about that in a moment. I grew up in Maui, so I don't know where in Hawaii you are, but aloha. The other piece of this is the toolkit. So the Success Toolkit, women love this book. You will get a printed copy of this. Women keep this book like past the 8-week program. It becomes almost like a memory book, if you will, so that when you fall off course, you go back to this and you refer to it because this will help give you the answers that we work together on figuring out what works best for you. So you will get your toolkit. And then the way we deliver the mindset coaching is we have weekly live coaching group sessions. There's a teaching part of it. And then there's also some discussion. It's an opportunity to share your wins, to pose your questions. And this is really that piece about working through and supporting you through this journey. It's really the magic. This is the magic, these success circle sessions. Okay, so just to give you an overview of the action plan, the Everyday 8 Habits is based on a method called habit stacking. Think about children when we learn math. We don't take a 6-year-old and say, okay, you know how to count to 100, but we're going to start you on algebra, right? You're going to start learning algebra. No, we don't do that. We build skills. So you count, and then you add and subtract and multiply. Then you do more complicated things, but you have to build those skills. The challenge with most fitness and diet programs is they say, do all these things all at once. Cut your calories, cut your carbs, drink more water, eat more protein, exercise 5 days a week. And our brain, it's not even your willpower. It's your brain cannot capacitate that much change in a short period of time. And that's why we fall off. So when we do habit stacking, we build on the habits week by week. So this is just an overview of the topics that we cover: hydration, movement, mindful eating. This is the key. That's probably the most transformative week. We talk about sugar. I always tease with sugar-free sweetness. We are not telling you what you can and can't eat, that you can't have anything. It's awareness and mindfulness. We talk about stress management, protein, and adding more fresh foods. And then ultimately, how do we plan for ongoing success? So how you'll experience this program, on My Curves on Demand, you will have access to videos that walk you through each of those habits. So it's broken out into 4 parts. Each video is anywhere between 3 to 10 minutes or so. And first, with every one of the habits, we have to start, we call it the Start Here section. We have to know where you're starting. We have to have an honest conversation of where you are, so that we can build on that and not say, hey, you know what, you're only drinking 8 ounces of water, but tomorrow you have to start drinking 70. That's too much of a gap. So as coaches and through the material, the content, we will help guide you into achieving that habit long term. And then the learn section is the education piece. And we try to make it fun and engaging with stories and also some science, if you will, and evidence, because we want you to see different reasons other than just weight loss of why you should incorporate this habit. And then the do, we give strategies and different ways, because part of this is figuring out what's going to work for you and how to integrate each of these habits. And then the final piece is reflection, just really letting the information sit in and see how you're going to pursue it and integrate it into your life. The mindful eating. So one of the questions we get is this a diet plan? We'll talk about it in a moment. This is a guided education on mindful eating. It is not restrictive. You will never hear me or any of my coaches that work with you. You will never hear us say, you cannot eat something, you should not eat something, do not eat anything, or whatever food, insert food here. We will never say that. We want you to make connections between how those foods make you feel. Okay, it's not prescriptive. So we're not giving you a meal plan. We are focusing on those everyday eating habits because that's what's going to be sustainable. We do have recipes in your toolkit, which everybody wants more of. The fitness piece of this program is the Curves Fitness program that you know and love. So if you're on right now or watching this, if you are a member of a Curves club, you will continue to do your Curves workout with your Curves coach as usual. If you are virtual, if you're not part of a club or don't have a local club, there's My Curves On Demand, which has fantastic resources for really exciting fitness programming. To continue with the education, as I mentioned, you'll get your toolkit. If you do the virtual program, it will be mailed to you. If you are in a club, your coach will give you the toolkit. And then that part 2 I mentioned is that mindset coaching. So we have success circles, we call them our success circles, where we will meet on Zoom and we'll give you ongoing support. But if there's one thing that you focus on and make a priority, it would be these sessions. If you never watched any of the videos on the habits, which I hope you do, there is so much golden value in these sessions. This is really what is sort of the gold of the program and what so many women really get out of it. Excuse me, I made a mistake here. There are 2 different session times, which I'll share with you in a moment. We do also make note that we do not record these. We do this out of privacy for the members. If you do have to miss because of a vacation or of course an unexpected situation that comes up, we do have some resources that we can provide you, but typically you can just kind of move right into the next coaching session. So how much time will this require? This is a big question I get, especially from busy women. Is this going to be, require a lot of time? So we break it down weekly. Make that success circle group coaching session a priority. Watch the educational videos with your toolkit. On average, that's 20 to 30 minutes a week. I usually suggest pick a day, maybe on the weekend, Saturday morning, get your coffee or your tea, sit down quietly, watch the videos with your toolkit to prepare you for the week ahead. Daily, you'll log your habits in your success toolkit. So there are trackers in there. It should take you no more than 2 minutes at most. And then doing whatever your recommended Curves fitness program. It may not be daily, perhaps you go 3 times a week or whatever your coach suggests you do. And then as needed, reaching out for support. So your Curves coach, and then we also have a Facebook group that you will be part of where we post things regularly, and that's a really valuable piece. One thing that I do want to mention about the Facebook group is once you sign up for the program, you will be part of that Facebook group until forever, however long we offer the program. So what's great is that even though the content stays the same, we offer this program 2 to 3 times a year. is, maybe you do it right now, you're going to do it in the spring. Well, when we do when we do the fall session, it will be a kind of a reminder, a refresher, and you can partake in the conversations there. So that's one added value of being part of the program. Okay. So the upcoming program, we start April 11th, which is today is I think it'll be the 4th or 5th of April. So we'll start next week. Through the end of May, we have 2 options, and you do not have to commit to either one. I do suggest that you kind of pick one, put it on the calendar, but if one week you have to come to the other one, of course, that's why we do that, to offer some flexibility. You can see here the different, and I'm looking at this and I am so sorry. So this is 8 p.m., 7, it would be 6 Mountain and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm sorry for those of you in Mountain Pacific time that I did not update that. I double checked this too. And then on Tuesday afternoons, Eastern time, Central, and so on. Okay. We do offer this version of the 8-week body project only 2 to 3 times a year. So now would definitely be the time. It's such a great time with spring as well. Okay. To get kind of a fresh start. So to recap, 2 parts of this program. You have the action plan of the Everyday 8 Habits. You have the video resources on My Curves on Demand that you can watch at your own pace, the Success Toolkit, and then you have those weekly mindset coaching programs, and then you have your fitness program. Okay. Quickly here to recap questions that I often get. Is the 8-week body project a diet program? And it's a big no. Okay. It's a mindset and habit change program. It helps you get out of the dieter mindset through education, coaching, and accountability. We build mindful nutrition habits. We talk a lot about understanding better how food impacts our bodies, but it's not prescriptive. You will not be getting a meal plan saying you have to eat X number of meals. We do have 1 week. We encourage you to track your food, but it's not in the way you've tracked in the past. And that's what makes this, from a food standpoint, very different than other programs that you've likely done. Is it a weight loss program? While weight loss is often one of the positive outcomes, this program focuses on helping women figure out a less overwhelming everyday way of life. This way, if you do it every day, it's sustainable weight management and overall physical, mental, and emotional health. Do women lose weight? Absolutely. But we need to, right? What's the definition of insanity? We keep doing these programs with the sake of losing weight. We want to see those results. You can see those results, but we're looking at the sustainability piece. Is it a challenge, or is it focused on quick results? This is for women truly who are tired of struggling and they're ready to commit to lasting, sustainable, healthy habits. Okay. So just in recap, we meet you where you are. This isn't something there's no expectations of, you have to be fit or you have to do X, Y, and Z. This is great for women in all phases and stages. So ultimately, it's a mindset and habit change program, helps you defeat your dieter mindset and your struggle with self-motivation so that you can have lasting change for life. One of the tools that we integrate, the mindset tools, is what we call ask better questions. Most of us ask the wrong questions. How many calories do I need to eat to lose weight? Well, that usually doesn't get us very far. So instead of asking, most of us, when we're ready to make a change in our life, we say, what program should I do to help me reach my goal of losing 20 pounds, 50 pounds? What's the best program? And the thing is, we've asked ourselves that question over and over again, but it's not getting us anywhere. It's not really making a difference. So instead of asking yourself, if you're thinking about right now, I need to make a change, I know I need to make a change, what's the best program is usually the automatic question. Instead, I want you to ask, what do I really need to learn so that I can achieve lasting results? Because the programs will likely end up like all the previous ones before. Instead, saying, what do I really need to learn? You know what? I think I do need to learn healthier habits, how to integrate them, and a different mindset so that I can see lasting results. I hope that makes sense. Ultimately, this is a commitment between Curves and me and my coaches. And women from Curves have said about this program, this is one of my favorite quotes, she says, for the first time ever, I think she was in her late 50s or early 60s. So for the better part of probably the last 30 years, she's been a joiner. For the first time, everything fell into place. Many years of yo-yo dieting and scale watching and not getting anywhere. Joining Curves has taught me a lot, as I'm sure many of you would attest who are here. But the 8-week Body Project has just topped it off. It's really that missing link. Another thing we always hear is, I wish I had the 8-week Body Project 30 years ago. How much pain, challenge, lost hope could we have not had, right, if we had something like the 8-week Body Project early on? And I'm certainly not saying it's never too late. It's never too soon. It's never too late. So that's why I'm hoping that you really consider the 8-week Body Project, because this can be game changing for you in reaching your optimal health goals. So I hope this gave you a new perspective and a new option, a new way to look at achieving your health. And I'll leave you with this. So many of us, we lack confidence because we've broken promises with ourselves. I always think, if I tell my children, hey, we're gonna go to the park later, and then we don't go to the park later, I'm breaking promises, which I break their trust. And in turn, they are not going to have the same level of confidence in me as their mom. And so I'm very cautious with the promises that I make to them. I'm very cautious with the promises I make to my friends, to my coworkers, to really anybody else. Most of us for so long have been making promises to ourselves. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stick to it this time. I'm actually going to exercise every day this week. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to manage my stress. I'm going to sleep more. I'm going to really take care of myself this time. And then we keep breaking those promises, and we wonder why we don't have confidence. We wonder why we can't stick with anything and why we can't reach our goals long term. We have to learn how to make new kinds of promises to ourselves so that we can actually follow through, keep them, and put those deposits in our self-confidence bank every time we do something right, because we have a plan that's actually helping us succeed. That's what's going to get us to long-term success and end that struggle. Okay, so I hope that wraps it up for you. So what's next? If the 8-week Body Project sounds like something that would be a great fit for you in your life right now, you can register with your local Curves coach. So if you do have a club near you, the link is in the chat that was just put there. You can directly click that link and register online. And then once you register, you will start to get emails and you'll get your toolkit in the mail. And all the pricing information is on there. I will tell you, the 8-week Body Project, I do work with, others, and, when I offer the program, because of my great relationship with Curves, the investment that you have as part of this program is significantly discounted from where you would get this program anywhere else. And in our coaching sessions, it is only Curves members. So you're not, it's very intimate. It's very community driven. All the women know, love, and trust Curves. And so it becomes a real, almost becomes like a little camaraderie over the course of 8-9 weeks. You build a whole new community, just like you do when you go to the gym. So really, think about investing in yourself. I promise that will be worth the investment of your time, your money, and your energy. Any questions that I can answer? I'm happy to hang on for a few minutes. So yes, so Angela, if there's, and Macy, if you want to jump on for anything, if there's not a Curves club, so if you go online and there's no Curves club in your area, you can participate in this program virtually. So Angela, you would go to this link and you would then get access to Curves, my Curves on Demand, the virtual fitness programming, and the 8-week Body Project as well, everything that I've talked about. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? If you have any other questions, Macy, is there an email that they can reach out to? No. So Angela, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I would say absolutely. I'll put it in the chat, but it is membercomments@curves.com.
Membercomments@curves.com. Awesome. Yeah, put that in the chat if you have any questions. Right. So Angela, just think about it as you still get the fitness programming. The virtual program is phenomenal. And as I mentioned, I've been in the fitness industry a long time, and I've seen great programming and not so great program, especially virtually. It's a high value program. So just think about the results and the access of the value that you'll get. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, you have the email there, membercomments@curves.com. The registration link is there. I really hope to see you next week in our first success session and get to know you and support you over the next 8 weeks. All right, everybody. Have a great one. Take care.